The power of work samples. I'm going to talk real quick about why work samples and deliverables make more sense than degrees. Welcome, colleagues. George Sloan, the MBA Accelerator. We are going to talk about the idea of work samples, and I'm going to tell you a little story. I have used this approach many times to get jobs, to get clients, to turn around and get a raise or promotion. And the way I've done it is simply this. Years ago, I was interviewing for a job with one of the big four major consulting firms, and they were describing what they wanted to do. They wanted to do financial analysis reports and credit-oriented reports, and they wanted to do it with a team of analysts, and they wanted to be able to do it quickly and pump things out. And I basically was sitting there listening, and I said, well, what elements do you want in that kind of report? Now, the thing is, I was setting them up because I had a rabbit in my hat that I was going to pull out. Um, and they sat there and said, well, obviously it would have an executive summary. It would do a full-blown financial analysis. It would do a discussion. It would do an overview. It might look at what the articles that were out and the news on this company, and it might even give it a ranking, rating, or assessment. And I said, well, that's interesting. And I reached into my portfolio and I pulled out a work sample and I said, are you talking about something like this? And I slid it across the table, and he picked it up immediately and he's thumbing through it. And he says, this is exactly what we're looking for. When can you start? I've repeated that process over and over again. And as I say, I've used it to get jobs, I've used it to get clients, and I've used it to get raises and promotions. There are times when having a demonstratable deliverable, a work sample, and if you can know in advance what you're walking into, you can have that sort of proverbial rabbit in your hat that you can set them up with a few questions and then say, boom, throw it across the table or slide it across the table and say, is this what you had in mind? And it's a very powerful convincer. It makes all the difference in the world. And quite frankly, the fact that I slid that across the table didn't matter whether I had a bachelor's or whether I had an MBA or a second master's as I do. It only mattered that I could do exactly what it is that they had in mind to do with that unit. And I slid across a tangible example. Knowledge workers, take note. Sliding a tangible, digital or any kind of work sample that demonstrates your skills, knowledge, and abilities is going to go a lot further than saying, oh, I went to this prestigious MBA program. So rethink that degree and start thinking about how you get the knowledge, the skills, and the abilities to create tangible work product that demonstrate that you can solve problems and deliver profitable results. If you're interested in more material like this, you're in the right place. This is the MBA Accelerator. Consider subscribing. Give us a like or a share. Again, we always say, don't keep us a secret. And I want to thank you. We want to have you visit. And again, we want you to learn fast and apply it faster. We'll see you the next time.